I think the main thing is that I feel like I can call myself an artist. And I think it just, in amongst all these other works, to have made it to the semi-finals was an amazing feeling. Then to make it through to the final, I couldn't believe it. And not in my wildest dreams did I think I'd win. And to win, I think it feels just so fantastic, particularly the calibre of people, the history of the prize, the judges, knowing Louise Herman's work I love and admire her as an artist. I've never met her before, but I just thought, gosh, to have her say or think that my work was worthy of winning means everything to me. When I was painting it, it wasn't so much communicating outwards initially. I'd suffered a terrible depression, and I'd had ECT treatment, and I was suffering terrible anxiety. And when I started painting the portrait, I was interested in seeing what I'd see in myself, or what would show through. Would it be the depression that seemed to have taken over my life, or would it be the person I think of myself as being loving life, very optimistic? And I was glad to see that started to come through again, and that inner strength, and also the things I think about the world, like the pose was quite deliberate. I have an academic background I have a PhD in international politics, specialising in women's human rights, and so gender issues and in the world I think about a lot. And funnily enough, the Me Too movement has brought it to the fore recently, even though I was painting this work before that and thinking about these issues before that, obviously. But I deliberately chose the pose to think about those ideas of stereotypes and how we assume things naturally, like most women tend to sit with their legs crossed all the time or close together, particularly in public. Men seem to be much more relaxed, and in Europe, it's really got a terminology called manspreading. And in fact, I'd read just before I started painting the portrait that in Madrid they'd banned manspreading on public transport. And I thought, okay, I'm going to take this on. But that's not the only thing about it. The other aspect of it was I love fashion, always have, and I just bought the jacket, and I thought, great pattern, great to paint, and so then it was building on that, and so pattern, shape, colour in the space, and also I love animals and I like painting them.
So why do you think you were drawn to a self-portrait as opposed to a portrait of someone else as well, like in terms of...
Well, it was the first painting, and I think in part it was I was thinking about entering prizes rather than exhibition, because I didn't have enough work to exhibit. It's my first paintings, but also I thought I don't have a lot of time to get an exhibition. I wouldn't know which gallery to approach particularly, and I just thought, no, I'll just start with a self-portrait, partly because I knew with these prizes, a lot of them, particularly the Archibald, which I couldn't believe I'd even enter it, but I was thinking big, and I thought the Archibald, that you tend to want someone famous or someone of letters, when you read their bit, it's, an eminent Australian of letters and so on. And I thought, I don't know anybody. I also don't know how to get to know anybody to ask them. I have no painting, nothing to show them, to say, can I paint your portrait? This is what I've done before. And I thought, really, and also you have to fill in. For some of them, you have to get the person to sign that they've sat for you and things. And I just thought, oh, look, I think I'll just start with myself. I'm there, it's easier. But also, to be honest, I really didn't know anybody else. There were people I'd love to paint, but I wouldn't know even how to start to contact them, How do you contact Barry Humphries? I honestly haven't thought really, I honestly hadn't thought that far ahead because I didn't expect to win. Not in a million years. I actually didn't even know that they announced the prize in the morning. I thought it was the evening. It had crossed my mind, I wondered why the press were there in the morning. What were they going to sort of photograph? If they didn't photograph, they're interested in who the winner is. So it had crossed my mind, but I thought, okay, so I had my best dress for the evening, and I planned to walk down to the National Gallery to have a look around to fill in the day between. So winning is just not in my wildest dreams, and therefore down the track haven't even thought, except I want to keep painting. I am still painting, obviously, but I want to keep painting, and portraits do interest me, and I've got a lot to learn. I sort of thought an L plate should be next to my painting because I feel like a learner, even just at a technical level of oil painting, I feel like I'm a learner. But I thought I would like to keep painting, and I am interested in, I've started a portrait of my husband, but it's very close family at the moment. If someone would like to be painted by me, they're most welcome to ask. What I'm amazed by the kind of eclectic nature, and I must say, I was trying to put myself in the shoes of a judge and think, how do you judge in amongst 1,000 paintings? But as you get tighter down, I mean, how do you judge between paintings that I would imagine are of a technical calibre and conceptually interesting, you know, when they're all on that sort of, just from the technical start point and conceptually have got it, then how do you differentiate between them? I'm really fascinated to know. I don't think I'd have the confidence to do that. But the work, I haven't actually seen it all in the flesh, but just seeing it online and there are people's names who I do recognise, like Peter Church's work and so on. You just think, my goodness. And to see them in the flesh is fabulous. But it is eclectic, I think. And I think that's testament to the judges that they're clearly not biased to their own preferences, like someone who likes perhaps classical portraits. They're open to being able to look at all different works and see them from, I suppose, some sort of objective viewpoint. I'm not sure what that is, though. There is someone in Melbourne, he's a milliner. He may not be very well known in Sydney and Australia, I don't know, but his name is Richard Nylon. And I've always wanted to meet him because he's eccentric. He's a dandy as well. He may not call himself that, but he dresses with cravat and he'll dress with a hat, and he has wonderful handlebar moustache often. He also has a pet parrot that I would like to paint with him. But he's someone that interests me, and visually he is interesting, and also fashion-wise he's interesting, because I painted my nephew recently and he was wearing jeans and a t-shirt, black. And I saw it as...
jeans and a t-shirt?
Well, it is the Australian vernacular, but I just thought I wasn't particularly interested in the t-shirt and jeans, but I saw it as a challenge to paint black. How do you paint all black but make it show the texture and things? So I saw it from that point of view. And he's a gorgeous boy, and it was lovely to try and capture him. But there are people I see wearing something, and I just think, gosh, I'd love to paint. It's almost like you could take the person out of it, and I'd still want to paint the outfit. Well, I'd love to thank the Moran Foundation, Greta Moran and Peter, for continuing to support this prize. I think it's an amazing prize, and not just financially. I think it's also because of the show itself. The location the show is in is amazing, and Greta was explaining about the history of the house. I had read a little bit, but to hear it from her personally and what it means to her, and to see a show in a house rather than the gallery spaces of today can seem a little bit clinical and I'd never seen a show in a house really. And I just think it's very intimate, and seeing them in different rooms gives you a chance to sort of look at a small number in a group, then move into a different space, and they're not all competing against each other. And I found that really interesting. But yeah, I'd like to thank the Moran Foundation, and the judges. And Louise, it takes time, energy, and dedication.